Hey, what's up, TBC production team? DJ here, just hopping on to give us a little bit of a refresher on macros, show you how to see what macros do, and hopefully bring a little bit of clarity of where each macro needs to go on our ProPresenter playlist and why they need to go there. So, as you see here on the right, we've got a bunch of different tabs, but on the most far right tab is a little M, and that is M for macros, and that's where we're going to find all of our macros here lined up. All right, let's start just from the very beginning of our playlist on our pre-service info loop. We're going to go ahead and use our pre-service info loop macro, but let's first go ahead and see what this macro does. So the way that I like to do that, whether it's for editing the macro or just checking to see what the macro is applying, I go ahead and two finger click or right click if you have a mouse, and we're going to go to edit actions, and then we see it's applying an audience look and a stage look. So audience look is for anything that our audience sees. For the sake of Port Richmond, it is our LED wall and our lobby TVs. If we were in the Northeast, our audience looks would apply to whatever we see online for broadcast, as well as whatever we see on our side screens right there in the location, our projector screens. All right, our audience look is showing lobby LED. And then for our stage look, if we go ahead and click into it, it says it's showing our planning center live clock timer. All right, for us to look a little bit in depth of what audience look is being applied, we're just going to go ahead and go to the bottom here, and we're going to open audience looks. And we selected announce lobby LED, and we see here two layers. We've got a presentation layer, which is what is typically shown to our main screen, which in the sake of Port Richmond would be our LED screen. And then announcements is what we send to our lobby TVs. Whatever is on the announcement layer, they're going to send to our LED wall and our lobby TVs. In order to make sure that our announcement layer is being sent there, we have to make sure that we are switching our pre-service info loop from presentation to announcements. The way you know it's switched is it becomes highlighted in green. All right, let's go ahead and drag in our pre-service info loop macro. Once we click into that, we see on the LED wall, it shows our pre-service info loop. And then we check our lobby TVs. It also shows our pre-service info loop. And then we click into our default stage display, and it shows our planning center live clock. For the sake of Port Richmond, for our 5-minute countdown, we're going to go ahead and check to see what it does. It's a little bit different than our pre-service info loop, and we're going to see that now. Our stage display look is actually our video countdown. And then if we go ahead and right click our 5-minute countdown macro again, go to edit actions, audience look, and it says that it turns our announcement layer off. So let's go ahead and open audience looks, see what happens. We're going to click announcement layer off. So that means that anything that is highlighted or selected as this green little dot, which is our announcement layer, that's our pre-service info loop. It won't be showing either on our LED wall or our lobby TVs. It's actually going to go ahead and show our 5-minute countdown instead, which is what we want. So once we drag that macro in, 5-minute countdown, we see on our lobby TVs, we've got our pre-service info loop. When we click into it, it's going to switch to our 5-minute countdown. as well as our LED wall switching to our 5-minute countdown. And it shows our video countdown to anybody that's on stage. So this is really helpful for our stage communicators, our worship teams, to know how much time they have left before they either start playing or welcome our locations to the Black Church. All right, we've got a 5-minute countdown going. We figured out what was going on in our 5-minute countdown. And then we're going to go ahead and get a little bit more applied here for our worship macro. Once again, right click. We're going to go to edit actions. And we see that the audience look is labeled worship. Let's see what it does. We're going to open the audience look here. Go ahead and select worship. And it seems like it's only showing that green announcement layer to our lobby TVs, but it is showing whatever we have clicked to our LED wall for our presentation layer. It also, if you see these like little boxes stacked together, it's actually applying a song theme as well. It is applying our lyrics upper third worship song theme. And how that helps us is if I don't have the macro in, I'll just show you what happens if I don't have the macro in. On our LED wall, we've got the 5-minute countdown. If we click the song background, it switches to the song background, but on our lobby TVs, it also shows the song background. So that's why we need to have this worship macro here. And if I go ahead and click into that, our lobby TVs start showing that announcement layer, which is this green one, the pre-service info loop. But our LED wall is showing whatever we have selected here on our presentation layer. In addition, if you see here, we've got our lyrics on ProPresenter. It kind of shows that they're in the center here on the preview, but our macro actually will pull these lyrics and pop them on the upper third, even if it's a different theme. So if I went ahead and I went and edited the slide, say I took this and I said, man, I want it to be at the very bottom, and we hit show, we see here I dragged it to the bottom, but if we have that macro selected, it's still going to bring it straight back to the top. And so that's really helpful. It allows us to export all of our lyrics as lyrics in the center, and then in our different locations, our macros will apply themes specific to that location. Our worship look for both our LED wall and our lobby TVs are showing our pre-service info loop, but our default stage display will show a preview of our lyrics. That way our worship team can follow along with it. In terms of where to place this worship macro, we always want it on every worship background. So this is a worship background. It has a worship macro. Here's another worship background, and it does not seem to have our macro. So let's go ahead and drag it in. We're going to drag in that worship macro on there. All right, we're all set with worship. Here for the worship leader transition, we don't necessarily need to have a macro on it, but one of the things that we can put on to be a little bit helpful to our stage communicator is put in our message host preview. And that will, if I click into it, it will actually show it on the stage display. So that's our confidence monitor. That way anybody who's communicating can see that graphic pop up on our confidence monitor. All right, all of our videos except for our 5-minute countdown are going to use our video macro. One of the things that it does is when we click into this, it will keep the lobby TVs playing our announcement layer. It will have our LED wall play our video, And then on the stage display, it'll switch our stage display to have that big video countdown. That way our stage communicators and band can go ahead and see that. All right, for our guest welcome moment, I prefer to put our message host preview on there. That way our stage communicators can see what's going on and all the different graphics that we have. If there is at any point, if this is an offering moment and there's scripture, we want to go ahead and use a different macro instead. I'm going to go ahead and remove this preview macro. We want to go ahead and use the text scripture macro. The reason why we want to use that is so that our stage communicators can look at the confidence monitor and read the scripture off of it. But that's only if during offering we have a scripture. If you decide that you want to switch the macro, unfortunately you can't drag it in and have it overwrite and delete the previous macro automatically. It's just going to keep using whatever is on that macro. So you have to be diligent and delete whatever macro you don't want to use for that section. So I want to delete worship, and I want to delete 5-minute countdown off of this slide. So we have the preview. Great. Our video announcements is another video, so we're going to drag in video. Our offering, since it doesn't have any scripture, we're going to go ahead and drag in our preview, message host preview. We have a bumper, that's another video, so we'll drag in video here. And then for our message, we're going to go ahead and in the past we were using a message host planning center, and I'll go ahead and show you what that would look like. So I drag it in, click it, it would show our live clock, our live countdown right there. But we decided to switch out for our message host text and scripture. The reason why we decided to switch over to that is because this also helps when a location pastors preach to be able to remember what happens next and to also be able to read the scriptures off of the confidence monitor. In terms of the live clock and being able to see how much time they have left, they still have this live clock right here on the upper right corner. So we decided to switch from the PCO macro to text and scripture, and that's what we're going to be running with for the future. For our salvation response, we can go ahead and drag in our preview. That way the communicator can go ahead and see our salvation response on the confidence monitor. In closing verbals, same thing. We'll go ahead and drag in that preview macro. That way they can see those graphics on the confidence monitor. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Amber or I if you have any questions. Like I said, each of these macros are specific to your location, so they might look a little bit different in your location. Hopefully that helps you. I'm just praying that you have an amazing week and amazing Sundays to come using these macros. Have a great day, guys.